I hope that you have understood that how this experiment has shown that in part 1 and part 2 that how leading questions and how our schemas, everything, all these cognitive processes influences our memory, and our memory is reconstructed and it is not reliable. Now this was a supporting study. Now I am going to give you a counter argument study where it is against saying that memory is reliable. So we cannot say that memory is not reliable. Counter argument says that memory is reliable. Let's do the study. Counter argument is that memory is reliable. It was given by Yuille and Cutshall in 1986. Now, in response to Loftus' research, Yullie and Cutshall 1986 carried out an experiment where they examined whether leading questions would affect the memory of eyewitnesses at a real crime scene. The crime scene was in Vancouver. A thief entered a gun shop and tied up the owner before stealing money and guns from the shop. The owner freed himself and, thinking that the thief had escaped, went outside the shop. But the thief was still there and shot him twice. Police had been called and there was gunfire, and the thief was eventually killed. As the incident took place in front of the shop, there were eyewitnesses. 21 were interviewed by the police. The researchers contacted the eyewitnesses 4 months after the event. 13 of the eyewitnesses agreed to the interview as a part of a study. They gave their account of the incident and then they were asked questions. 2 leading questions were used. Half the group was asked if they saw a broken headlight in the getaway car. The other half was asked if they saw a yellow panel on the car. The panel was actually blue. They were also asked to rate their stress on a 7-point scale. It was found that eyewitnesses were actually very reliable. They recalled a large amount of accurate detail that could be confirmed by the original police reports. They also did not make errors as a result of the leading questions, and those who were most distressed by the situation had the most accurate memories. Now, okay, so what are the key differences between Yuille and Cutshall 1986 and Loftus and Palmer 1974 experiments? Now, the first is that Yuille and Cutshall study had stronger ecological validity in comparison to Loftus and Palmer lab study. Now, we all know Loftus and Palmer study, it was a lab experiment, so it is an artificial setting. Yuille and Cutshall was in the natural, it was a natural experiment, so it has a very strong ecological validity. Now, because they had actually witnessed a crime, they would have had an emotional response that is very different from what the students felt watching videos of drivers' education car crashes. In addition, there was archival evidence, police records of the original testimonies to confirm the accuracy of the testimonies. So that means that when we say that memory is reliable, emotions play a very huge role, which we were not considering in Loftus and Palmer study. In Loftus and Palmer study, emotions were not there because it was a lab experiment. We just saw a video. I mean, seeing a video is not creating that many emotions. You're not going under stress or trauma, things like that. So the intensity of the emotions is very, very less. That is the reason that you might not be able to recall those many things that accurately. But when your emotions are involved in something, when the intensity of emotions are really high, you're likely to remember things much better, which happened in Yuille and Cutshall experiment, where the people actually experienced this crime, this gunshot and everything. So there might be some trauma, lot of stress, and there were in high intensity of emotions in them while seeing all this. So this created accurate recalling from the memory. So that is very important, that emotions play a huge role in the recalling from the memory. However, Loftus and Palmer study has a higher level of reliability. Yuille and Cutshall study is not replicable and also not generalizable, since it was just one-off incident. There was no control of variables, so it is difficult to know the level of rehearsal that was used by the different eyewitnesses. It could be that those who agreed to be in the study had spent the most time thinking and reading about the case. So when we talk about reliability, obviously lab experiments are always highly reliable in the sense that they can be repeated again and again, and we can collect more evidence on the same. But in the Cutshall's counter argument study, it happened only once, so we can't really say if it is reliable. And maybe these people who agreed to come to this study would have read so much about this case, must be rethinking about it again and again and again. That rehearsal would have made the memory more accurate, and they were able to recall it much better, which was not there in the lab experiment. So yes, this plays a huge role. Then third is, it may very well be that different types of memory are more reliable than others. Different memories may be located in different parts of the brain, and that they also may have different levels of reliability. So we all know there are different kinds of memories, semantic memory, episodic memory, flash bulb memory, and so on. And different types of memory are stored in different parts of our brain. So it is very difficult to say that what kind of memories we are able to recall better and what kind of memories we are not able to recall better. So these can also have an influence on the recalling of the memory.